My name is Ken Glass. As a young man growing up in the piney woods of East Texas, I was always fascinated by new technology.
Sequence starts. 6, 5.
The race to the moon was the talk of the day.
2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
And I watched in wonder as Neil Armstrong stepped off the limb
That's one small step for man,
and into a new frontier.
one giant leap for mankind.
Later, I landed a job installing acoustic couplers in Houston, Texas. The acoustic coupler allowed people to connect remotely to corporate data and was the emerging technology of the day. This would pave the way for the modern modem. Working in technology led to opportunities in the energy sector. It was there that I was able to develop high-performance computing technologies that would forever change the oil and gas industry. I've had the good fortune to witness dramatic changes in technology, but nothing can compare to the advancements that we are experiencing today at Dell Technologies. That's what this podcast is about. Technology that impacts our lives now and into the future. This is the Next Frontiers podcast. By now, it's no surprise that today's emerging technologies are embracing AI across a vast spectrum of applications. Our guest today is not only using AI, but his company is doing so in a humanized way.
My name is Danny Tomsett. I'm the CEO and founder of UneeQ Digital Humans, which is an AI company really focused on bringing emotional connection and real-time interaction into digital channels.
You can learn a lot about a company by their name. In the case of UneeQ, spelled UNEEQ, we wanted to better understand the rather unique spelling of their name and what it says about the work they do.
It was an interesting branding exercise. We actually thought a lot about where the world was going with digital channels. And one of the thematics that I was quite bullish on was that the way that we would interact with machines needed to be far more human, and we needed to feel like we mattered as an individual. And so we are all very unique in ourselves. And so experiences that feel more personalized, that make us feel more like a valued individual, we're going to be far more effective. And that's proven to be true. And so that was one of the first influences on UneeQ. The other influence was actually brand. So each brand is trying to create something differentiated, something that matches its values and what it stands for. And so there's this uniqueness to the brand. And so digital humans are actually representative in an embodiment of that brand. So they need to be unique. Their personality, their backstory is the way they interact. And then the spelling, which is a unique spelling of UneeQ, I did actually want to get the EQ in there, which is the emotional intelligence, being that, as an interface, this is a much more emotionally intelligent interface than we've ever had in history and human to machine interaction. So I thought that would be quite cool to bring that into the brand.
Creating a digital human requires differing skill sets. UneeQ has built a team that bridges creative arts and technical roles. Danny explains.
The kind of skill set that we had to bring together was really fun. So we had to get people that understood art and the creative side of what does it take to create human connection, storytelling, and the way that digital humans would move and interact and have personality. Equally, it's all AI powered. So we needed science and data science and really talented engineers. And then you had big platform distribution. So you needed networking, architecture, infrastructure. And so bringing all those different skill sets together took time. It's been amazing seeing what is possible when you combine those different strengths and you create a culture where we embrace that. And so that's where the company started. That was the team that we've continued to build on. We're now a global company, and we actually have engineers that work for us all over the world. So we are a remote first company now as well, as many went that way with COVID. We started a little bit before COVID, but yeah, it's certainly been the model that works for us. And yeah, our corporate headquarters is in Austin, Texas, and we still have a big R&D base in New Zealand.
For many, AI burst onto the scene in September of 2022 with the release of ChatGPT and Stable Diffusion. Danny and his team were not only prepared, but ahead of the game.
Really, we were starting to work with AI technology in 2016, but the algorithms and mathematics behind AI has existed for much, much longer. And the way that we looked at AI was the maturity of the dependencies. For AI to be useful, it needed to be cost effective, it needed to be functional. So it's not just algorithms, it's the compute power to actually drive response times in an efficient way. It's the way that the language models were able to be fine-tuned to provide meaningful and useful answers. And even in 2016, I think we were quite early, right? And so the advantage that we had was that the AI technology we were working on was in animation. How do you automate animation with AI? There's no data set that existed for that. So we had to spend a lot of time in creating data sets and really experimenting and prototyping and all sorts of methodologies. And so that worked well for us. For 3 years, it was heavy R&D in what we were doing. And when we came to market in 2019, language models, the most common way of working with AI language models was natural language processing, which most chatbots would run on. And whilst they could be effective, it's still huge amounts of overhead of time and effort. And so we grew slowly at that point. And like you said, 2022, large language models start to hit that sweet spot of cost-effective, low latency, high effective answers. And so our business has thrived really in the current season and era of AI. So it's actually funny because I spent time with Sam Altman at Y Combinator, and we were talking about digital humans and where this is going. And he made a comment that I sort of brushed off, which I think is far more true now, and I actually agree with him, which was the problem first that matters the most is we've got to get the foundational language models to be effective, understand context, to really have meaningful conversation. Then the interfaces matter on what we put on top of that, which is what we do.
Being able to have a conversation with a computer played a role in countless movies and TV shows over the years. Think of HAL 9000 in 2001 Space Odyssey.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Robbie from Lost in Space.
My computer is the best on Earth.
And any of the Star Wars movies. UneeQ's digital human turns sci-fi into reality. Danny tells us more.
The digital human is a 3D CGI model that is powered by AI animation systems and plugs in to any type of language model to drive that conversation. So digital human is something that you will have a back and forth conversation with, whether it be on a website, a mobile app, it could be VR or AR. But essentially, you are able to have a conversation in a way you would with a human. It has personality, responsiveness, thinking, listening, all the attributes that we are naturally designed to communicate with. We use body language. We listen to tone. We react to emotion. And that is what a digital human does. Technology users are very comfortable with technology. So they're quite happy to navigate search and all the tools that are available through different digital mediums today. Sometimes, though, there are moments where people who feel intimidation or doubt, let's take buying a Dell laptop as an example. You and I probably know what a CPU is, a GPU is. We understand all the components of the laptop. We understand how that affects the use case and the needs that we have for that laptop. But we know lots of people in our family who don't. understand that. And so when they go to make a decision, all of a sudden these emotions of intimidation and doubt and other things to be able to make a self-selecting decision become a problem. That is our target user, because for them, they just want to have a conversation about what they need and have someone listen and respond and say, hey, I hear you. I got it. This is what you need. This will be the best thing for you. And when that happens, everyone wins. Happy user, sale gets made, all these types of things start to flow from there. So that's a big part of who our user is. But we're also seeing people want to use this technology for training, because the reality is it's very hard to simulate role play and experiences with human to human because we don't have time and we don't have the availability and we have remote workforce. So creating simulated environments where you can practice is also a very powerful use for this technology.
For hardware needed to create and deploy a digital human, UneeQ has developed some vital partnerships. Because of those partnerships, UneeQ is better prepared to handle the rapidly shifting world of AI today.
The GPU is very, very important. And so we have a very close partnership and relationship with NVIDIA for that reason. It's not just inferencing and it's not just the training of AI, but it's also in a 3D model world, you also have to render this whole experience. So whether that's local to a device or it's server side and we're rendering in the cloud and we're streaming, then the GPU plays a really big role for that. And, the nature of GPUs today, the power, and I guess we're moving from Moore's Law to something else now, but the nature of that makes this even more affordable, even more accessible. And even in our training around AI, what we were doing back in 2016 and 17, the speed of what we can do with epochs now and other things to get our models fine-tuned is really impressive. The other part is how customers want to deploy. And so our partnership with Dell is very meaningful for this. A lot of customers want to keep their data constrained inside their controlled environments. And so they want to deploy on their own hardware, in their own data centers, and Dell are one of the best at doing this. And so being able to partner with Dell to ensure that our software scales with their hardware and can also provide really cost-effective solutions to customers who are trying to solve problems, whether it be local government, whether it be education, training, as we talked about, and many other verticals. We really enjoy the way that Dell actually goes to market for their customers. They have a services division, which we spend a lot of time with. Because of the nature of AI, you really need the experts around many of the pieces. I often talk about like baking a cake, right? There's a lot of ingredients. If you have the right baker, then you can make that a really great cake. And that's really how I see Dell services. They're great bakers. They know how to bring the ingredients together, validate a design, and bring that through. And we also have strong relationships across the hardware teams and work with King Glass on the precision hardware. And that's been excellent because a lot of Dell customers are wanting local kiosks and retail stores and having that whole all-in-one solution just on a single kiosk makes that really easy for those customers to consume and use and support. And ultimately, we also work across Dell and internal teams as well, helping across sales, enablement, and training. We've done some really awesome work with Dell and even supporting communities on the philanthropy side. Dell Tech Crew is helping kids learn new skills and actually going from there and learning soft skills, practicing with digital humans and how to learn how to do a job interview well. And so you can take the skills you learned and now you can have a successful job interview. And we've already heard stories of students now getting jobs in the workforce through this program.
Thank you, Danny, for sharing the story of the digital human, and thank you to NVIDIA for making the podcast possible. To learn more about UneeQ, please visit digitalhumans.com, and to learn more about how Dell is empowering innovation in AI, visit dell.com/AI. Do me a favor, like and share the podcast with your colleagues or on social. I am Ken Glass, and this is Next Frontiers.